I know there's a pandemic happening right now, but I feel like there's been a pandemic that has been very much living amongst us for a very long time, at least within our generation. And that is the pandemic of sticking to one thing. Many of us get shiny eye syndrome and we're like, oh my gosh, so and so's doing this, so and so's doing that, I'm not doing enough, rah, 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 rah. But you're not getting anywhere. If you're chasing everything, you're not going to get anything. Okay? You're not going to get nothing. And so with that in mind, in today's session, I want to talk about sticking to one thing. If you don't know who I am already, my name is Michael Tabirade, high performance coach and mentor, and I help self-starters and ambitious professional millennials increase their productivity, enhance their performance, realize their priorities, and live their life on purpose. Now, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, all the links are in the description below. Now let's get into the video. Now, as I stated before, the biggest problem that you're probably facing is sticking to one thing. You may have read the book, The One Thing, great book. And there are many other books that talk about focus and habits and all those different lovely stuff there. But the reality is, even though we're reading these books, do we stick to one thing? Let's say, for example, you're starting a business. You're trying to do social media, the marketing, building the clientele, X, Y, and Z, all these different things. But what are the things that truly matter? Like the basic definition of a business is commercial activity. But the only activity that you've been getting is a few likes here and there on Instagram. Is that making you money? Do you think that's actually going to make you money? Now, for some people, don't get me wrong, I don't want to bash social media because I do think it's a good thing. But there is relativity to this. You have to be realistic and mature enough to understand what actually gets the leads or the clientele or the people into your business funnel, whatever that looks like. Because if it's not social media, you need to understand why it's not working for you or if that's the first thing you should focus on. Many people don't have that long-term strategic planning sort of like approach to whether it's business or losing weight or whatever it may be. Everybody wants things now. Everybody wants their minute rice in 10 seconds. And you wonder why it's soggy. Like, it doesn't make sense. And so sticking to one thing means that over time, you actually master and perfect something and you become great at something. But here's the thing. Once you reach that status, once you reach that level, you can actually transfer that specific skill into different areas as well. And so there is a benefit in sticking to one thing, or at least a few things. Now, the reason I'm saying one rather than a few is because if I say a few, your brain's going to go, oh, that means I can kind of still do this or do that or whatever it may be. Or some of you may be like that. Nah, stick to one thing. When you stick to that one thing, things open up for you. So I'll give you an example. So I remember when I was losing weight, okay? I went to a nutritionist, was a great person. They told me what I was intolerant to. They said, do you want a meal plan? I said, yeah, why not? I got this meal plan and I followed it to a T, to a ridiculous T, to the point I think it was a bit too ridiculous. But what happened was I lost 10 kilograms in about 7 or 8 weeks without going to the gym, without doing excessive exercise or any of that stuff. I lost body fat. It's a shame because the pandemic has given me some weight, should we say. But point being made is I stuck to that one thing. Another example of that is when I wrote my books. Okay, so I first wrote my books in 2016 in January, and it took me 11 months to write, 11 months to write 10 mini books. Okay, so about 6 of them are in draft right now, but I stuck to that one thing, even at a point where I got repetitive strain injury in my right hand. What did I end up doing? I ended up using my left hand. Why was I using these hands? Because my laptop had broken down, okay, 2 months in. So I stuck to actually writing my books on my, I didn't even know they were books back then. It was just one big book and I broke up those 10 chapters into mini books. But what's the moral of the story? I stuck to one thing. What did I take from that? Well, sticking to one thing means completion. Even if you feel a certain way, it doesn't mean you can't do the activity. Measuring what you do each day is very important. And there's always going to be peaks and troughs. That's what's going to happen. But if you stick to it, you'll complete it. And so I don't want you, as somebody who is ambitious, okay, who is a professional, who is somebody who is a self-starter, somebody who wants more from life, to be stopped in their tracks because they're managing way too many things. way too many things. No, focus on one thing. You've probably heard this before. Follow one course until successful. Focus. If you have that in mind, if you stick to those habits, you become somebody who is actually great, not only in your eyes, but in other people's eyes. They're like, wow, this person has done great. They're an overnight success, whatever that means. What I've realized during this time, okay, is that get less attached to the outcome and focus more on a habit. Focus more on those daily small habits that you need to commit to on a daily basis. That's where you will see your treasures. That's where you will see your successes. But if you're trying to do so many different habits at so many, like one time, you're going to get fatigued. You're going to get exhausted. You're going to get tired. You're going to feel all these different things. And so sticking to one thing is where you become efficient. So don't get shiny eye syndrome. Don't get this mentality where you're like, oh, I'm not doing enough. You are doing enough. How you know you're doing enough, okay, is based on what your results tell you, but also your planning. Now, planning and strategy is key here, my friends. Some people may say, well, you could write this elaborate plan and you may not finish it and it may change, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's all true. However, China are doing what they're doing because they have a 200-year plan. You think they're infiltrating all these different areas like by accident. They know what they're about. It's about intention. And so planning and strategy is key here. A plan could be as simple as a checklist, you know. It doesn't have to be a deep plan where it's like 40 or 50 pages. It could be as simple as updating your Notion or your Trello board or whatever it may be, writing it in your journal. However you like to express your organized thoughts into actions, you should have something there that you're following. Maybe you need to do some research in terms of understanding how other people have done it. Maybe you need to get a course, okay, and follow those structures. Maybe you need an expert, a coach, a mentor, a supervisor, someone who can help you. The point being made is you need to funnel and channel your focus into doing less so that you can do more. That is the aim. Do less so that you can do more. When you have an insatiable and obsessive focus on a few things, you get more done. You naturally get more done. Okay? Whilst you're wasting your time trying to do all this other stuff, you're losing money if you're trying to start a business. You are losing because you're faffing about. You're not developing or doing the market research. You haven't got a plan that you're following. You haven't even done your MVP, your minimum viable product. And yet you want to play around with social media because you heard that Reels gets you or TikTok gets you 10,000, views or whatever it may be, or 100,000. Don't get me wrong. Not knocking that stuff, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so there has to be some level of measure. Okay. Even if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to bust out in the gym, trying to do all these different things, but then you end up spraining your leg or pulling a muscle. I've been there many times before because you didn't slow things down. You didn't have a strategy to follow. Focus. Stick to one thing. Stick to one thing. And I'm going to say it again. Stick to one thing. Less is more. And so if this ring home, let me know in the chat below. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to listen to more videos like this, then make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.